Welcome to this presentation on my unconventional Facebook ad strategy for authors for Fiction Marketing Academy. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Holmes, and I help authors run profitable and scalable Facebook ads and also show them the way to building a six-figure author business, because that's exactly what we've done for my wife's books. She is an author of fantasy novels, as I'll cover in more detail in a moment. On a personal note, my wife and I live in the UK, in the beautiful county of Shropshire, and we have three children. We have Jacob and Caleb. They're on the left and the right there. They are twins. And then we have little JJ in the middle there. So he's the younger brother. And yeah, that's our little family there. And then we also have two dogs who are part of the family. We have Freya on the left and Loki on the right, and they're two little whippets. So that's us in a nutshell. And let's move on now to the book side of things. So my wife currently has 6 books published. So that's The Forbidden, Daughter Nimmer, Captive, Enemy Tribe, and The Last Kamali. Now, Captive is more of a retelling of Daughter of Nimmer, book 2. So it's really a 4-book series with one sort of companion novel. And then on the right-hand side there, we have Echoes of the Forgotten, which is book 1 of a new series that's related to the main series. So the main series is called The Ancestors Saga, and the new series is called the Ragnarok Trilogy. So that's going to be a separate series that's tied to the first series. And we launched The Forbidden, Daughter Nimmer, and Captive back in 2020. So Forbidden was April 2020. Daughter Nimmer was a few weeks later in the beginning of May, and then Captive was a few months after that. And back in April of 2020, we earned just over $100, $133 in royalties. Fast forward to July 2023 and August 2023, we're earning about $17,500 a month from these books. And that does sort of go against best practice, really, of having a lot of books out there and releasing them regularly. We're not doing anything like that. Laurie does 1 book a year. So we had those 3 books because they were pretty much written already. That's why we released them in fairly quick succession over a few months, because they were already written. But since then, we had Enemy Tribe came out in 2021, Last Kamali came out in 2022, and Echoes of the Forgotten came out this year in 2023. So it's 1 book a year. That's her sort of cadence, really. So Laurie puts a lot of time and effort and research into her books, and she just can't actually write quicker than that. Sometimes she'll take 3 or 4 hours writing a single paragraph, and even a sentence. You can go over it again and again and again and again, and rewrite it several times, edit it, etc. And this is why it takes her so long. But she enjoys that process. That's what works for her, and it's worked for us in terms of having a great product out there. And when you have a great book, it just makes the advertising that much more effective. So for us, it's more about the quality of the product, the book, more than the quantity of the books we're putting out there. Because ultimately, your book's going to sell your books. No amount of advertising is going to sell a poor quality product. The advertising, the marketing, that's all just an amplification tool. You're just making people aware of the books, and it's the books themselves that have to sell themselves. So since 2020, the way I've been running Facebook ads is by running them straight from the Facebook ads straight to the book product page of book 1 of the series. Laurie's series needs to be read in order, so we've just been focusing on advertising book 1. And this approach has completely driven the business. This is what it all comes back to, is we're just driving traffic to book 1 of the series, and then we're relying on the read through to the other books in the series to make up the profit and to make up the revenue. Yes, book 1 makes a lot of revenue, of course, but we need the other books in place to really make things sustainable and profitable for us. However, from this month, we are going to be changing tack slightly, because we are going to be driving sales from the Facebook ads to Laurie's bookstore, so a direct sales store. And we built this on a platform called Shopify. And at the moment, we're just selling the paperback versions of Laurie's books on the store, which are selling well. We're not putting a huge amount of budget into it yet. But later this month, all the books are going to be coming out of Kindle Unlimited, which makes up about 50% of Laurie's royalties. So it's a big, big chunk of our income. And we're going all in on direct sales. So when your books are enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, as you may know, you can sell the print books anywhere, so the paperbacks and the hardbacks, but the ebook versions you have to keep exclusive to Amazon. If your ebooks aren't exclusive to Amazon, then you can sell them anywhere. You can sell them on Amazon. You just won't earn the Kindle Limited page reads income, but you can sell your ebook versions anywhere you want, including on your own store. So that's what we're doing from later this month. We're going to be really ramping up the direct sales side of things with the Facebook ads. And I want to make this clear because this is a question I get a lot. Can we use the same strategy that we're about to cover in this presentation? Can I use this for direct sales and Amazon sales and sales on other platforms and retailers such as Nook and Kobo and Barnes and Noble, etc.? And the answer is yes. You can use this exact strategy wherever you are selling your books. With the direct sales side of things, there's just one minor tweak we're going to be making to the Facebook ads, and I'll show you that when we actually dive into the dashboard. But essentially, it is exactly the same strategy no matter where you are selling your books and where you're sending traffic from your Facebook ads to. So that's a little bit about who I am and what do we do. And today, I'm going to be showing you why your Facebook ads best practices, if you're following them, are really throttling your results, what actually truly moves the needle with Facebook ads, and it's probably not what you think. My unique and yes, slightly controversial Facebook ads strategy, the exact Facebook ads account structure that I use, examples of my winning Facebook ads, and also we'll end the presentation with a walkthrough of actually launching your first Facebook ads campaign together. So you can essentially watch over my shoulder and follow along inside of your own Facebook ads account. So that's what we've got lined up. And without further ado, let's dive into things. First of all, then, why Facebook ads best practices, if you're following them, are really throttling your results. The two main best practices with Facebook ads when authors are running them are using something called detailed targeting, which we'll get into shortly, and also testing individual ads, so individual Facebook ads one by one. And by ads, I mean the ads that people are actually seeing on their Facebook feed. So what readers are seeing on their feed. We can test these one by one, or we can do something a little bit different, which is what I do. And I'll be walking you through all of this in this presentation today. So these two best practices, the detailed targeting and testing ads one by one, is exactly how I used to run Facebook ads. But at the end of 2022, our Facebook ads results dropped off a cliff. And they have been sort of declining for a few weeks, and then suddenly they just went. And no matter what I did, I just couldn't get them working again. I tried new ads, I tried more budget, I tried different audiences, I tried all the bells and whistles I could think of inside of Facebook ads, and nothing worked at all. As a result of that, royalties dropped, bestseller ranks dropped, read through dropped, everything was just going down and down and down and down. And it was a pretty difficult, rough time to go through. So because of that, because our royalties were dropping, I had to keep reducing our Facebook ads budgets to retain profits, which is never a nice thing to do. You really want to be sort of scaling, consistently scaling up and up and up, because the more you spend, the more readers you reach, providing that you're actually optimizing ads correctly and you're turning off what isn't working so you can focus your budget on what is working. So after a lot of testing, a lot of headaches, a lot of pulling my hair out, trying to find out why this thing wasn't working, and also, regrettably, there was a bit of shiny object syndrome in this period where I was thinking, Facebook ads just aren't working anymore. I'm going to go and try Pinterest ads and TikTok ads. I tried all these different things, but eventually I did come to my senses and came back to Facebook ads and figured a strategy out. Now, this strategy went against all the best practices that I've been following. So the detailed targeting, the testing ads one by one, and a bunch of other different things that were all air quotes best practice. It went against all of that. But the fact is that it worked. Our royalties began to increase, our Amazon bestseller ranks improved, read through improved, and everything just went up and up and up. And because of that, I could scale up our Facebook ads budgets again. So let's dive into the two main best practices then. The first one is using detailed targeting. So detailed targeting is a very, very granular way to target your Facebook ads. And on the surface, it sounds absolutely brilliant. You can say, I want to target people who have an interest in Stephen King and also have an interest in Amazon Kindle and Kindle Store, for example. And this sounds great. This is exactly who I want to reach if you write books that people who like Stephen King would like, of course. But there are other targeting options as well. So there's authors, which are 99.9% of them are traditionally published authors. You can't target indie authors in the main. You can also target genres such as crime fiction, fantasy books, science fantasy, all these different things to do with genres. You can also target TV shows, movies, well-known or famous people if they are relevant to your books. So there's a lot of options in there. And on the surface, this does sound absolutely brilliant. But detailed targeting is actually throttling your results because detailed targeting doesn't do the targeting. I know that sounds completely backwards, completely like I've lost my mind here, but honestly, stick with me. It's actually your ads that do the targeting. which we'll cover in a moment about how they do this, which really boils down to the biggest lever you can pull with your Facebook ads is your ad creative, the ads people are seeing on their Facebook feed, not the targeting. And the way this works is that your ads are going to create their own audiences based on the content of them. So Facebook's algorithm is going to look at the images you use in your ads, the text you use in your ads, and also the URL, so the website address of where you're actually sending people to. It's going to scan that as well for information on there, so images and text, etc. on there. It's going to look at all that data. And with the images, it's going to look at what's in the image, who's in the image, emotions of people in the image, if there are people in there, the types of image you're using, all these different parts of the image is going to actually assess. And if you use videos, it's going to look at the video content as well very, very closely. It's going to look at the sort of text you're using, the individual words you're using, the phrases you're using. It's going to pick up on all of this different stuff about your ad and the URL, of course, so the website address of where you're sending people. And from all that data, from all those data points, it's going to build your audience. And that is who it's going to show your ads to. This diagram here should give you a bit of an idea of the problems of detailed targeting. So Facebook's algorithm is going to create an audience, which in this case is this big white circle here. And it's done that based on what we've discovered, the image, the text, the URL, etc. And when you layer on detailed targeting, you're restricting who in this audience in the white circle your ads can be shown to, because your ad has created this massive audience in the white circle there, and it's got all these people, so it could be 10 million people, and you're saying only show this ad to people who like Stephen King and they have an interest in Amazon Kindle, for example. So suddenly your audience size is shrinking massively. And all these people that Facebook has earmarked as potential people who would potentially be interested in your ad, it can no longer show it to them because you're telling the algorithm, don't show it to them, only show them to these people that I'm telling you inside of the detailed targeting section of setting up your Facebook ad. What you may not know is that people who are in these detailed targeting audiences may not truly actually belong in that audience. So taking the Stephen King example, someone may have looked at a post about Stephen King for half a second 3 months ago, and because they stopped scrolling on their Facebook feed for half a second, a few seconds, Facebook sees that as, oh, they're interested in this ad because it mentions Stephen King. They may have absolutely no interest in Stephen King. They just like the look of the image that was used in that ad or in that post, etc. Or they may have commented on an ad or a post that was lambasting Stephen King and they're agreeing with it. They don't actually like Stephen King's books. But because they've made an interaction, engaged with an ad that mentions Stephen King, they are now in Stephen King's audience. Just because they have interacted or engaged in an ad that mentions Stephen King, by Facebook standards, that means they're interested in it. But that's not necessarily the case. This is why detailed targeting really isn't that effective. By using detailed targeting, you're forcing your ads onto these people who may or may not like, in this case, Stephen King. Facebook wants to spend your entire daily budget every single day, and it's going to show ads to people that you tell it to multiple times to spend your budget. So in order to spend up your budget, Facebook needs to show ads to people because that's how it charges. It charges on something called a CPM model, which stands for cost per mil. In English means cost per 1,000 impressions. So if you've really restricted your audience by using detailed targeting, your audience size is now so small that you are going to be essentially forcing Facebook to show your ads multiple times to multiple people just to spend your budget, because Facebook wants to take every penny, every dollar that you give it. So in order to do that, it's got to show the ads multiple times to multiple people because you're not giving it a big enough audience to show your ads one time or 1.5 times, etc., to a much, much bigger audience. So people will be seeing your ads too often. And this is going to drive up your costs. And it also means people are going to become less and less engaged with your ads. It's something in marketing terms known as banner blindness. And it's where people just become essentially immune to the ads that they're seeing again and again and again. And because Facebook's seeing people aren't engaging with your ads, that's going to drive costs up because you're clearly not adding to the experience of being on Facebook's platform. They want to provide a great experience to their users. And if ads can do that and they can see people are engaging with ads, and they are liking them, they're sharing them, etc., they're commenting on them, then that's a good sign to the Facebook algorithm, and it's going to reward you with lower costs. But if people are just ignoring your ads, they're not commenting on them, they're not liking them, etc., that's not a good sign to the algorithm, and Facebook's going to essentially tax you for that. The other thing about detailed targeting is that they're removing audiences every single month. And what can happen is, what was happening to me is that I'd find a great performing audience, it'd work for a few weeks, a few months, and suddenly, poof, it's gone. So you can build up this great performing ad that works well with this audience, and suddenly out of the blue, Facebook will just remove this audience and you can no longer target it. Detailed targeting is also unstable. It causes ads to fatigue and also lacks scalability. So by that, I mean that it's difficult to really scale ads that are using detailed targeting because they just burn out too quickly. You can't spend a huge amount of money on them and do so profitably. Yes, you can spend money on them, but they're going to be showing the ads to the same people multiple times, as we covered a few moments ago, just to spend your money. So it really is difficult to scale. With detailed targeting, yes, your ads may look great in the beginning, but over time, their performance is just going to get worse and worse and worse because you're just showing them to the same people again and again and again. And there's only so many times people actually see these ads. Even with a big audience, Facebook's just going to sort of target a pocket of them and it's going to keep showing it to this audience again and again and again, driving up cost and worsening performance. So in essence, you're just investing in a depreciating asset. Now, if you were investing money in an asset, a stock, a share on the stock market, for example, and you saw that it was just getting worse and worse and worse, you wouldn't keep pumping money into that thing. You'd stop it or you'd at least reduce it. And with Facebook ads and detailed targeting, this is exactly what you're doing. You're just forcing money into something that's getting worse and worse and worse. So you're probably asking then, what is the alternative to detailed targeting? My answer to that is unrestricted targeting. This is exactly what I use. So I use absolutely zero detailed targeting with my Facebook ads. Absolutely nothing. I haven't done so since the end of 2022. Unrestricted targeting is all about using location, gender, and age. That is it. You can see on the screenshot on the right here, which is from the Facebook ads dashboard, as we'll get into later, that the targeting I'm doing, we just have United States, we have the age range of 35 to 65 plus, and we have the gender of women. That's the only targeting I'm doing. You can see in the detailed targeting section there, highlighted by the red arrow, that is completely empty. And that is the case on every single Facebook ad I run. I don't use any detailed targeting whatsoever. Unrestricted targeting is going to give you much more stable and reliable results. It's going to give you cheaper Facebook ads. So by that, I mean the CPM, so the cost per 1,000 impressions, that's going to be cheaper. And also how much you're paying for clicks on your Facebook ads, they are going to be cheaper as well. Because you're showing your ads to a much wider audience, a much bigger audience, because we're not putting those restrictions on the algorithm, Facebook's going to have a much better chance of actually finding people who like your ad and go out and find more people like them. And therefore, people are going to engage with your ads more because it knows who engaged with your ad and it hasn't got any restrictions on it. And it can find more people like that. And when Facebook sees people engaging with ads, it rewards the advertiser, so you, with cheaper costs. It's also much easier to scale profitably when you're using unrestricted targeting because you don't have that restriction on audience size. The audience sizes of unrestricted targeting are absolutely massive. They can be tens of millions of people, and this gives Facebook complete freedom about who to show your ads to. It's also quicker to manage your Facebook ads each week, so you have less time spent inside of the Facebook ads dashboard. You're not having to consistently test new audiences each and every week, which is something I used to do. I was consistently trying to find new audiences to test and I was just running out. I didn't know what to do, which is part of my problem. But I'm here to tell you that that is not the case at all. And with Facebook ads, your ad performance is going to improve with time. Just like a good wine or a good cheese, it's going to get better with age. And this is because the algorithm is going to be constantly working to find people who engage with your ad. So it's going to look at who is engaging with your ad, who isn't engaging with your ad, find more people like those who do like it and avoid people who don't like it. And it's keep doing that every single time. Every single time it shows an ad, it's going to assess how those people reacted to it and find more people who like it and less people that don't. It's consistently doing this every single day. And because of all this, you are going to be able to focus on what actually moves the needle with your Facebook ads, which is the ads themselves, the ad creative that people are seeing on their Facebook feed. Which brings me on to best practice number 2, which is testing ads one by one. This is something I used to do religiously, and this is a best practice, but again, I don't do this anymore. I really lean into using the Facebook algorithm and its machine learning and AI capabilities to get much better results than testing ads one by one, which is quite a painful process, to be honest. And the approach I'm going to show you is much more effective. So before we look at the best practice way of actually testing Facebook ads, which is testing them one by one, I first need to walk you through how Facebook ads are actually structured. So at the top there, we have the Facebook ads account, and inside your Facebook ads account, you can have multiple campaigns. And at the campaign level, This is where you set the objective. So you're telling Facebook what you want to do, what you want the campaign to achieve. And if you're sending people from your Facebook ads to Amazon or Nook or Kobo or any retailer like that, then you choose the traffic objective, as we'll cover later. If you're selling directly on your own store, as we are with Laurie's Books, then you want to use something called the sales objective. But to do that, you would need to install something called the Facebook Pixel and also the conversions API. That's a topic for another day. That's quite a deep topic. And also at the campaign level, which is again something that goes against best practice, is setting the budget. Now, the best practice way of doing Facebook ads is by setting the budget at the ad set level. I don't do that. I set the budget at the campaign level and allow Facebook to decide where to spend the budget. Now, inside of campaigns, you have ad sets, and you can have multiple ad sets within campaigns. And the ad set level is where we do the targeting, as we covered, and also the placement. So the placement is where you want your ads to be shown. And when advertising books, I found the most effective placement is on the Facebook feed. But you can also show ads in the Facebook Reels, the Facebook Stories, Instagram Reels, Instagram feed. There's multiple different places you can actually show your Facebook ads. But for advertising books, I've consistently found that the Facebook feed only is the best performer. So that's what I do with all of my ad sets. And then within ad sets, you have ads. So this is the ad creative. So the text, the image, the links, etc., the buttons. This is all contained within the ads. And you can have multiple ads within ad sets. So that's the rundown of the Facebook ads account structure. And there's a couple of best practices in terms of account structure that I don't use anymore, that I used to. And the first one is having multiple campaigns. So lots and lots of campaigns. And within those campaigns, you have lots and lots of ad sets. And within those ad sets, you have lots and lots of ads. And you can see how this will get very confusing very quickly. This is just 2 campaigns here with 3 ad sets and 3 ads in each. But I've seen accounts where there's 10, 20, 30 ad sets within a campaign, and there's 5, 10, 15 campaigns. And within each ad set, there's 5, 10 more ads even. So it can get very confusing, and this causes a lot of audience overlap. So people are seeing ads multiple times, and that's driving costs up, and it's just not a clever way to actually run Facebook ads, in my opinion. The other sort of best practice way of setting up your Facebook ads account structure is to have lots of campaigns with one ad set and lots of ads within that ad set. And each campaign is doing something specifically. So one could be testing audiences, one could be testing ad creative, one could be scaling, and then you can have multiple different types of testing. So there could be multiple types of audience testing going on. You could have multiple types of creative testing going on. So some for video, some for images, etc. So it can get very confusing again. And it just makes the whole process of managing your Facebook ads day to day, week to week, very time consuming and very overwhelming. Compare these 2 best practice account structures to my account structure, and it looks a lot cleaner, a lot easier to manage, and much less overwhelming. So I have 1 campaign per country, per book, and the ad creative and the scaling all happens inside 1 campaign. And because we're not using any audience testing, no detailed targeting, we don't have to do any of that at all. We're just focusing on what actually moves the needle with your Facebook ads, which is the ad creative. Now, you'll see here something called DCT, and this stands for Dynamic Creative Tests. Facebook offers something called Dynamic Creative, and this is a way to test lots of ideas with your Facebook ads, but with Facebook doing all the heavy lifting for you. I'll cover this shortly in a minute. So the way my strategy works is that I do all the testing with the DCTs, the Dynamic Creative Tests, and then I move winning DCTs into my main ad set. So my main ad set here is always on, and it just contains winning ads that have been proven to work. So ones that have actually generated good sustainable costs from a Facebook perspective, but they're also actually converting on Amazon or on our direct sales store. So they're actually selling books for us. And I launch 2 new DCTs every week. So I'm testing new ideas every single week. And if something doesn't work, that's fine. I just turn it off and start a new test. When something does work, great, I'll move it into the main ad set. So it's really simple to actually run this. And it's just so much more effective, so much more scalable, and has made a massive difference in the performance of our Facebook ads. What is dynamic creative then? In the words of Meta, dynamic creative takes multiple media, such as images and videos, and multiple ad components such as images, videos, text, audio, and calls to action, and then mixes and matches them in new ways to improve your ad performance. That's in the words of Meta, who own Facebook. In my own words, it allows Facebook to find your winning ads quickly and cost effectively. So essentially, you give Facebook a few images to test, a few pieces of text to test. It mixes and matches them and then shows you the winner, essentially. That's how it works. We'll get into the structure of a Facebook ad in a moment. I just want you to know here that dynamic creative and unrestricted targeting are the cornerstone of my Facebook ad strategy. That is what has transformed our results, are these two things: dynamic creative and unrestricted targeting. So let's look at some example winning Facebook ads that drive thousands of sales every month for my wife's books and hundreds of thousands of page reads just from the Facebook ads that then turn into, we average about 1.5 to 2 million page reads a month for Laurie's books. So before we jump into some examples, I just want to show you how the ads are actually structured. So this is an example Facebook ad, and at the top there we have something called the primary text. This is a big block of text at the top here. I say big block of text, it can just be a single sentence, or it could be an entire chapter from a book. So there's lots of possibilities with the primary text here. In the middle, you have the media. So this can be images, or it can be videos, or it can be something called a carousel, which is essentially a swipeable series of images horizontally. People can just sort of swipe across and see multiple images. And bottom right there, we have the call to action button. This is the button that will take people to wherever you're sending them. So probably your book on Amazon, or it could be your direct sales store, it could be Nook, it could be Kobo, Barnes and Noble, etc. That's where that button will take them. Underneath the image there in the bold piece of text, we have the headline, and then below the headline, we have the description in that really small piece of text there. In terms of how people actually view Facebook ads, there's been lots of studies done on this with eye tracking technology. And the first place people's eyes go is the media, so the image, the video, or the carousel. That is what's going to stop the scroll. If you can't grab people's attention with the image, they're not going to look at any other part of the ad. So you've got to grab their attention with the image. The second place people's eyes will go is the headline, that bold line of text underneath the image. This has got to give context to the image and really just encourage people to keep reading, give them a reason to keep looking at your ad. And if the headline grabs their attention as well, then their eyes will go to the primary text, that piece of text above the image. They'll read that, and that has got to entice the click. That piece of primary text there has got to entice them enough to actually click on your ad and go and look at your book on Amazon or Kobo or your own store, wherever you're sending people. So that is what I focus on with my Facebook ads. I focus on these pieces of the ad. I don't worry about testing the call to action button or the description because they make little to no difference on the performance of your ad. It's the media, the headline, and the primary text that are going to really move the needle in terms of your Facebook ads performance. So that's where I recommend you focus your efforts on. So now you know how an ad is actually structured, let's look at a couple of examples. So this first one here, which, as I mentioned right at the beginning of the presentation, is sending people from the Facebook ads to book one. All our Facebook ads are sending people to book one of the series. This one here has a lot of social proof. So by social proof, I mean reactions, comments, and shares. So you can see it's got nearly 4,000 reactions, nearly 400 comments, and 450 plus shares. So a lot of social proof here. And when you can get this amount of social proof on an ad, it gives a lot of credibility to readers that people are actually engaging with this ad, and also they are enjoying the ad. It's got a lot of love, obviously, and it's potentially a good product. It obviously doesn't guarantee anything like that, but it's a good sign to people that this is a good product. This is a good book in our case. It also helps the Facebook algorithm because it can see that there's a lot of people engaging with this ad, and because of that, it's going to lower your costs, and it's going to find more people who are engaging with this ad. So more people who share similar characteristics to those people that have loved the ad, they've perhaps commented on the ad, they've perhaps shared the ad, etc. It's going to look at all of this and use those data points to find more people like this. So let's break down this ad a little bit. We have the image there, which is using an element of the book cover. So the background of the book cover. It's also got that symbol on there, which forms part of the title of the book. And then what works incredibly well with Facebook ads when advertising books is review quotes. I found this again and again and again, that review quotes just work so well. It's another piece of social proof for readers that this is a really strong quote. It tells people that there is a series here. When we say the word read, R-E-A-D, it shows that this is a book as well. And I do recommend going onto your book product page on Amazon, finding some great reviews like this and using them in your Facebook ads. This has absolutely transformed our results by plucking out these really strong, short, punchy, powerful review quotes. And again, another review quote in the headline: the most unpardonable book I've read in years. Again, a really short, punchy review that hammers home that this is a good book, a very good book. And it's just going to, again, give some more credibility, more social proof to people that this is potentially a good investment of their time and their money. And then with the primary text, again, you can see here there's lots and lots of social proof in this piece of primary text here. So we start with a review quote, a little bit longer than what we used in the image in the headline, and it's comparing Laurie's books to another series, another book. In this case, it's called Clan of the Cave Bear, and it's a book that's set in a similar time frame. That's about the only actual similarity, but a lot of people read this book, and it's been compared to multiple times by readers that Laurie's books share a similarity to Clan of the Cave Bear, and this has stoked a lot of engagement with the ads on the good side and bad side. But engagement is engagement, and it's just spread the word. So really, really powerful quote there that's worked very, very well for us. We then go into a little short strapline that summarizes the book, and then we go into more social proof, and then we end with a call to action there. So we say, start experiencing the Ancestor Saga today and escape into our own dark and forgotten past. It all begins with book one, The Forbidden. So we're telling people the name of the series, giving people a little bit more detail about when it's set, so in the past, and then we give people the name of the book that we're actually advertising. So this ad has done very, very well for us. The second example here then has had a bit more social proof. So we've got about 6,500 reactions, 948 comments, and just over 900 shares. So again, a really powerful ad that's driven a lot of sales for us and is also very sustainable from a cost perspective because it's got so much engagement. And breaking down this ad, we can see we've got a image again that is reminiscent of the book cover itself, and we've used the mountains that are in the book cover. In the foreground, I've added some trees to make it a little bit more dark, a little bit more gloomy, threatening, perhaps. And then at the top there, we've got a review quote that mentions the Clan of the Cave Bear series again, because this is just such a powerful quote. The headline, a real page turner. So again, a really short, punchy review quote. The primary text here is a bit shorter, and essentially all it is one long review from a reader. So he just talks about her experience of reading the book and why she enjoyed it so much. And at the end there, we finish off with the call to action again, the same one as we used in the previous ad. So this is a really powerful ad that's worked incredibly well for us. And while we keep putting more and more money behind it because it works so well, it just keeps selling books for us, so we put more money in. And you need a handful of ads to really scale up to hundreds, even thousands of dollars per day in profitable Facebook ad spend. You don't need lots and lots of ads. You just need a handful, and you find those through the DCTs, through the dynamic creative that we covered earlier. But hopefully those couple of examples there have got your creative juices flowing. If you're ready to launch your first Facebook ads campaign, or perhaps your next, if you have already been running Facebook ads for some time, then that's what we're going to get into now. If you don't have a Facebook ad account set up already, then what you'll need is a personal Facebook profile. So just go to facebook.com and sign up for a personal profile. You'll need that because Facebook likes to just really check authenticity with accounts, that there is a real person behind it actually running the Facebook ads, and it just likes to connect it through a personal profile. You'll need a Facebook business page or an author page because your ads will be associated with that page. And then I do recommend a Meta Business Suite account. So this is something free, it's completely free, and it just allows you to store all your ad accounts, your Instagram accounts, your Facebook pages, etc. Keep it all inside one account, and in here you can set up your billing, etc. All this is contained within the Meta Business Suite. So I do recommend you have that. It just helps keep things all together, keep things more organized for you. And then once you have your personal Facebook profile and your author page set up, you want to go to this address here, business.facebook.com, and then from there you can set up your Meta Business Suite. Facebook will walk you through the process. It's very, very quick, very, very easy to do. You just need to enter a few business details and then you'll be all set up. You just need to make sure you're logged into Facebook when you go to this page, because then it will link it all up to your personal profile. And for the Facebook Ads Manager itself, which is where you're actually going to be doing the day-to-day work or the week-to-week work on your Facebook ads, it's adsmanager.facebook.com/ads manager. And you can just bookmark that in your browser, such as Chrome or Firefox, whichever one you're using. That way you can actually get quick access to it. You haven't got to come to this URL every time and type it in, you can just click one button and come straight into your ads manager. That's what I find. It's just much easier to do that way. So if you're ready to dive in, let's go. And what we're going to be building is this. So we've got a campaign. We've got two ad sets, which can be testing our dynamic creative. And then we're going to create one main ad set, which will contain the proven winning ads. So that's exactly what we're going to be building together. Let's dive into it. Here we are then inside of the Facebook ads dashboard. And this may look a bit overwhelming to start with, but honestly, it's really, really not. And the more you use this dashboard, the more it's going to become second nature to you. So don't feel intimidated by it, easier as it is for me to say that. It's going to become more and more natural to you to actually use it, and you'll know where you're going, you know how to navigate everything the more you use it. To give you a bit of a rundown, a quick whistle-stop tour of the dashboard, across the top here you can see the campaigns, the ad sets, and the ads that we covered earlier on in the presentation. So if we click on a campaign here, it's going to take us to the ad sets within that campaign. We click on an ad set, it's going to take us to the ads within that ad set. And then here, in the actual table, the dashboard itself, you can see we've got lots of different columns of different metrics. These can all be changed. They can all be sorted in different ways. So you could sort by amount spent, you could sort by impressions, you could sort by frequency, you could sort by CPMs. And if you want to change the columns, then you want to come up to this section here, columns, and you can come down to here and do customize columns. Click on that, and then you can actually choose the columns you want to use inside of your Facebook ads dashboard. You simply come in here, search for them, tick them, and they'll be added into this section down the right hand side here. You click apply, you can give it a preset name if you want to, click that little button there, give it a name, hit apply, and then that will be updated inside of your dashboard here. Now the metrics I use here are slightly different for the direct sales, so on our Shopify store, compared to when I'm sending people from the Facebook ads to Amazon. So for the Amazon sales side of things, I use this preset here that I've created and labeled Facebook Ad Stats Dynamic Creative. And the metrics I use are the budget, the amount spent, the reach, impressions, frequency, link clicks, cost per link click-through rate, unique outbound clicks, unique outbound CTR, cost per unique outbound click, and CPMs. So by all means, use these same metrics inside of your Facebook ads dashboard as well. That's exactly what I use, and it just works. So that's just the metrics I've been using for a few years now, and they're the ones that I use most consistently, so I don't have to look at anything else, because as you can see in here in the customized columns, there is a lot of data in here to choose from, and that can get pretty overwhelming if you're trying to look at all this data. And honestly, with data, less is more. Too much data is going to give you too much information, you're going to get information overload and you can't make decisions. Whereas when you've got less data, you can make much more informed decisions and do so more quickly. So I just find having less data, obviously you need some data, but having less of it is going to make things much, much easier for you. And then at the top right here, we have the date ranges. So click on that and you can see there's various presets here, such as maximum, today, yesterday, last 7 days, etc. Or what you can do is you can actually choose a date range. So you could do 10th of September to the 18th, for example, hit update. And then that's going to update all the data inside of your dashboard here for each level of the account structure. So the campaigns, that data is going to reflect this date range. The ad sets, again, the same, it's going to reflect that date range. If we were to change it to last 30 days, for example, you can see all the data is going to change there. And to be honest, aside from actually setting up the ads, that's the only thing I change in the Facebook ads dashboard is the date ranges and the columns. Everything else I leave as default. All this stuff down the left-hand side here, I don't really touch any of that. So obviously billing, you need to set up your billing to pay for the Facebook ads, and then I download the invoices for our accountant to do the taxes, etc. for the business. But apart from that, I don't really go into this at all. I just stay on the main dashboard here. There's a lot of bells and whistles in Facebook ads, and you really don't need to touch many of them or any of them at all. So what we'll do now then is we'll actually create a campaign together. Now, if this is a brand new account, then you'll have a little button in the middle here that says create. You'll also have one up here in the top left that says create, and you click on either of them to actually create a campaign. So we'll click on this one here. And the first thing we need to do is choose an objective. So I mentioned earlier about traffic and sales objectives. So traffic is what you want to use if you're sending people from your Facebook ads to your book on Amazon or Kobo or Barnes & Noble, any retailer like that. You want to choose a traffic objective. If you're sending people from your Facebook ads to your own store, as we do with Laurie's books, then you want to choose a sales objective. But just keep in mind that you'll need to set up the Facebook pixel and the conversion API to actually run this effectively. So for this campaign, we're going to choose the traffic objective because we're sending people straight to Laurie's books on Amazon, or book one of a series on Amazon. So we'll choose that and we'll hit continue. Okay, so we first want to give this a name. And the way I do this is I use the country we're advertising in. So in this case, it's going to be USA. And then I do the book title. You can put your book title there. That's how I do it. By all means, use this naming convention or come up with your own. Just make sure it's consistent when you're naming your campaigns, your ad sets, and your ads, so that every ad set has the same naming convention, every ad has the same naming convention, etc. Moving down then, we can leave special ad categories and campaign details as they are. We can leave A/B test as it is. We just need to turn on advantage campaign budget. So we'll click this little toggle here. Okay, and this is going to tell Facebook that we want to spend X amount per day, and it can decide where to spend that money. So we're going to have a few ad sets in this campaign. We're going to have 3 at any one time, 3 active ad sets at any one time. And we're saying, you decide, Facebook, where to spend the money. This goes against best practice, I know, but I've just found much better results with it by just leaning into Facebook's algorithm, machine learning, to figure out where to spend the money rather than us forcing money on things that don't work. We're letting Facebook decide that. So in terms of what to use for your budget, I recommend $20 a day if you can, at a minimum. If you really can't stretch to that, then I'd say 10 to 15, absolute minimum. I wouldn't go below $10 a day. It's just going to take too long to gather any sort of meaningful data, and you're just going to get data that much quicker if you use a decent budget of at least $20 per day. So we'll leave it at £20 a day in this case. And what we'll do then is we'll just click next. So you click next in the bottom right here, or you can click on new traffic ad set here. And now we need to give our ad set a name. So the way I do this is we have a main ad set, which is going to contain our winning ads, as we covered earlier. And then we have our DCTs, our dynamic creative tests. So for this one, we'll create a dynamic creative test first. So we're going to come into here. So I give my DCTs, my dynamic creative tests, a number. So we'll start with 001. Okay. And then we'll just put DCT. Now you can add more detail, such as female 35 to 65 plus, for example, if you wanted to. That's absolutely fine. Again, just come up with a naming convention that works for you and that you are consistent with. Conversion, we'll leave this as website traffic. That's absolutely fine. Performance goal, maximize number of link clicks. That's fine. Dynamic creative, we need to turn this on. So we'll click this little toggle button here and click continue on this message. Okay. And we can come down to budget and schedule. We can leave all this as default. We don't need to touch that at all. We'll move now into audience. We can leave custom audiences alone. I never use these anymore. I used to, I just don't touch them at all now. So we can ignore that section. So for this one, we're targeting the USA. In locations, we'll click in the search locations and do United States. We'll select that. We'll turn off UK. Okay. Now we come down to age range. Now, if you know that your readers are, say, 35 plus, then by all means put that in. If you know they're 55 plus, by all means use that. If you don't know, then just leave it at 18 to 65 plus. That would be my recommendation. And then let Facebook figure out who to show your ads to, who best resonate with it. And then you'll be able to have that data and you can really come in and actually narrow the age range down a bit more once you've got that data in. But if you don't know, then start 18 to 65 plus. If you do know, then by all means change that. So I know Laurie's books are typically the sort of 35, 40 plus. So we'll click on 35 and leave it 35 to 65 plus. That's fine. And most of our readers are women. So we're going to select women here. And again, if you know all your readers are women or majority are, then choose women. If you know they're all men or majority men, choose men. If you don't know, or your books are read by men and women, then just leave it set to all. That's absolutely fine. If you don't know and you select all, then allow Facebook to figure that out for you. And then you can come in here and actually change the targeting to say men only or women only based on that data that you get from Facebook. Detailed targeting, we're going to leave all that alone. We don't need to touch that at all. Placements, this is where we're going to decide where to show our ads. And as I mentioned earlier, I've always found best results from the Facebook feed. So we're going to choose Facebook feed only. And to do that, we click on manual placements. And we're going to turn off Instagram, turn off audience network, come down to the placement section here. We'll turn everything off apart from this one at the top here, Facebook feed. Okay, so that's all those off there. And we just got the Facebook feed as our placement. And that is our ad set done. Now we'll come to new traffic ad here or click next in the bottom right corner. And we'll give this a name again. I'm going to call this 001 DCT. Okay, that's the name done. And you can see here in the identity section, this is where you choose your Facebook page. So which Facebook page you want your ads to be associated with. So if you've got a few pages, then you can choose from the list here. And this is why you need to create your Facebook page first before you set up your Facebook ads and just link it all up together inside of the Meta Business Suite. So that's the page. Come down to ad setup now, and we'll choose manual upload as default, single image or video, that's fine. We can turn off this multi-advertiser ads. I don't find I get great results with that, so I'm going to turn that off. And then we're going to come down to add creative. We can turn off this optimize creative for each person. What that does is it creates different versions, different formats of your ad, and it can turn images into videos, and I just don't find it a very good option at all. It really messes up with the data, so I always turn this off. Okay, so now we want to select the images we want to use in our ad. And for DCTs, I use 3 images, 2 pieces of primary text, and 2 headlines. So we're coming to select images here. And if you have images that you've ran before with Facebook ads, or you've used them on your Facebook page, you'll see them here. If you don't, then you click on upload here, and you can upload images you've created from your computer. And in terms of image dimensions, I recommend square images. So 1080 by 1080 pixels. They just take up a lot of real estate on the Facebook feed, and I find I get better results with those than sort of letterbox type images, so rectangular images. I find I get better results with square images, so 1080 by 1080 pixels is what I recommend there. I'm going to choose 3 images here, so we'll choose this one, and this one, and then we just click continue. Okay, so those are our images in there. So these images here are the same quote, but they've got slightly different backgrounds. And we're just going to figure out which is the best performing background, and then we'll use that one going forward. Scrolling down then, we have the primary text next. And I've got some primary text just off screen here, so I'll grab this and copy it in. Okay, so there's one piece of primary text. As I mentioned, I use 2 pieces of primary text in each DCT, so I can figure out which is the best performer. So we essentially put 2 pieces of primary text up against each other, and we let them fight it out to find the winner. So to add the second piece, we click this add text option here. We'll choose a second piece of primary text, paste that in there, and that's our primary text done. Come down to headline. We need 2 headlines in here. I'm going to choose 2 review quotes. There's one, and here's another one. So click on add headline option. So those are our 2 headlines done. And then for description, I just use one. I don't bother testing different descriptions because, as I mentioned earlier, they don't really have much of an impact, if at all, on the performance of the ads. So I just choose one. So for this one, I'm just going to choose a fantasy fiction series. Okay, and you could put in there the formats the book is available in, for example, such as Kindle, KU, print, audio. You could use that as your description. It's up to you. I'm just using this one for now, the fantasy fiction series, which will help people understand this is a fantasy book and also help the algorithm as well understand who to show this ad to. Just a bit more data there for it. We'll come back to website URL in a moment. Down here, we need to choose this none. It seems to default to cool, because we can turn that off, just choose none. And then call to action. I found the best performers really are Learn More and Shop Now. I don't bother testing these anymore. I've done some testing in the past, and I've just found that Learn More or Shop Now work best. You can't write your own button, so you can't say get book or anything like that, or read my book or buy my book, nothing like that. So you have to choose a preset one, and I found Shop Now is definitely the best performer, followed by Learn More. If you have a free book, you're advertising a free book, download can work well as the call to action button. Otherwise, I'd recommend Shop Now or Learn More. In the tracking section, you can leave all this alone. That's absolutely fine. We don't need to worry about any of that. Now we come to the website URL. For this, I use something called Amazon attribution links, and these allow you to track the performance of your Facebook ad. So you can see which ads are actually driving sales, and if your books are in Kindle Unlimited, you can see which ads are driving page reads. I haven't got time in this presentation to actually go through Amazon attribution, so below this video you'll see a link to a separate video where I walk you through Amazon attribution, what it is in a lot more detail, how to get it all set up, and actually create a Amazon attribution tracking link for your Facebook ads. So there's a separate resource for that below this lesson. What I'll do now then is I'll grab an Amazon attribution link and we'll just pop it into here. There we go. So there is our link. And you can see now we have a preview of what our Facebook ad will look like in the Facebook feed. What I recommend you do now is actually click preview URL and just make sure it's going to the right page on Amazon. Once you've done that, that is your first DCT done. And we want to create a second DCT now, so we can essentially allow these two DCTs to fight it out between them and find the best performer. So we'll click on these three little dots here, and we're going to do quickly duplicate. Okay, so that's created a carbon copy of this first DCT. Now we're at the ad set level again, and we want to rename this. So we'll get rid of copy there. We'll change this to 002. We can leave all these settings the same. I just like to run my eye over them to make sure everything's copied over. It's never not worked, but I just like to run my eye over just in case. Great, that's all fine. Now we come to the ad level, and we change this to 2. And here we just want to test something slightly different. So to test strategically, you want to be testing sort of one variable at a time, really. And in this case, what I'll be doing is I'm going to keep the primary text and the headlines the same, and I'm going to remove these images. And we're going to click select images, and we're going to choose these 3 images here. So we click on this little eye icon here, just hover over it. You can see it's a image of a girl in the background in snow in a blizzard, and then we just got a strap line, as I call it, as the text there. So an outcast, last gift, a species, last hope. And we're just going to test these. So there's 3 different people in the background, 3 different women, and they've all got the same strap line. We're just testing which is going to be the best performing image there in the background image. And then we'll click continue. Okay, so now we're essentially just testing these images against these images, because the text, the primary text and the headline is exactly the same in each one. So come back to 002 again. What we need to do now is just grab another Amazon attribution link, because you want to create a separate Amazon attribution link for each ad that you run. That way you can see which ads are actually generating sales and page reads and which aren't. So I'll go and grab one of those now, and we'll pop this in here. Okay, so that is our Amazon attribution link in. And again, I just recommend clicking preview URL. And that is your 2 DCTs done. That's all you need to do there. Those are done. They're not up and running yet. We'll do that in a moment. We've just had this issue come up here, verifying your changes. So we just need to come back and click none. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we can come out of here now. So those are our 2 DCTs. Now what we need to do is create our main ad set. And this will contain our winning ad. So once we've found a winner through our DCTs, we want to move it into our main ad set. And to create the main ad set, what we'll do is we'll click on create. At the ad set level here, give this a name. So we'll call this USA main ad set, for example. And we haven't got any winning ads yet. So we want to click on this drop down here and choose skip ad. And then we'll click continue. Okay, and in here, we just need to create the same settings as we have for our DCTs. So website is fine. Maximize number of link clicks, that's fine. We don't want to turn on dynamic creative. We don't need that. We can leave budget and schedule as it is. The only change we need to make is the audience and the placement. So we'll come down here, and location, we're going to choose United States again. And we'll get rid of UK. We'll choose 35 to 65 plus and women only. Okay. Come down to placements, choose manual placements. We'll turn off Instagram, Messenger, and Audience Network. We'll come down and remove all of these apart from the Facebook feed again. We'll leave that one turned on, so everything else can be turned off. Okay, so that's everything off there, and just the Facebook feed. And that is your main ad set up. So what we can do now is we just want to review everything, and then when you're ready, you can click publish down the bottom right here, or what you can do is you can come out of there and just click on the blue review and publish button in the top right of your dashboard here. So once everything is up and running, your ads are delivering, you're getting data in, you want to let them run for about 7 days, at least 7 days really. And then you want to come in and look at the data, and you want to figure out which is your winning DCT. And then you need to take that DCT and bring it into your main ad set. So to do that, we'll come into the main ad set here, and we'll click on create. Don't worry, these ads aren't in the main ad set. It's just a glitch with Facebook. It's showing them in this ad set. They're actually not in there at all, so don't worry about that. And we want to give this ad a name. So we'll call this ad 1. And I like to say in here from DCT, whatever number DCT it came from, just so I know which DCT this winning ad actually came from. And then we click continue. Okay, so in the ad level here, then you want to make sure you've got the right Facebook page showing here. And then in the ad setup phase, instead of create ad, which is what we did last time, we'll click on this drop down and choose use existing post. We want to turn off multi-advertiser ads. And we want to come to this section here, add creative. And what you need to do here is to bring the winning DCT from the DCT into your main ad set to scale up. And you can do that by clicking the select post option here and just choose the ad from there, from the list that comes up there. Or what you can do is click on enter post ID. You click on this box here and it's giving you a box to enter a post ID, which is essentially a piece of code that's relevant to a specific ad. It's unique to that ad, that DCT. And to get your post ID, we'll come out of here, we'll find a DCT. So let's find a previous DCT I've run. Let's look at this one here. Okay, what you do is you click the little tick box next to the ad at the ad level, and then you click preview, and then you come to share, and you do Facebook post with comments. And here, what we want to do is click on the little date here. So in this case, it says 2 days. We click on that, and then in the URL bar at the top of your screen, you want to select the part of the URL that starts with pfbid. We double click that, and it goes all the way through to just before the question mark. That is your post ID. So you want to copy that, come back to your ads manager, and we can close this bit down. We can come to ad sets. We want to come into our main ad set here. This is our ad here. So we'll click on edit. So hover over the ad one you've just created, click edit, and then come down to the ad creative section and do enter post ID. Click in the box there, paste in your post ID. So Command V, Control V, or right click and paste, and then click tick. And there is the ad. And it's brought through the winning ad from your DCT and also retained the social proof. So you can see there that it's got the 9 reactions, not a great ad, but it's something you can just to illustrate that the social proof has come through, and it's going to retain that inside of your main ad set. And that is how you test and scale your Facebook ads. So I really hope you have enjoyed this presentation and you've now got an actionable strategy to move forwards with your Facebook ads. And this strategy, it doesn't just work for me. I have shared this strategy with other authors, and I get emails every single week from authors who have seen an absolute transformation in their Facebook ads from this strategy. Authors who have been struggling with Facebook ads for months or even years in some cases, it's now click for them. And they're starting to make some good sales from the Facebook ads. Authors who have gone from hundreds of dollars per month in royalties to thousands of dollars per month in royalties. Authors that have gone from 4 figures per month in royalties to 5 figures per month in royalties. It's absolutely transformed so many authors' Facebook ads and their author business as a whole. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into what we've covered today and look at the strategy in more detail, the unrestricted targeting, the dynamic creative, and a lot more besides, then I do have a completely free 3-part video series for you. Just go to matthewjholmes.com. You can sign up right there, and that will be delivered straight to your inbox over the course of 3 days. The first lesson being delivered as soon as you sign up. And also, when you do sign up, I'll send you my weekly newsletter, the Saturday Self-Published Author. And in this, I share Facebook ads tips and advice and the latest learnings from all my testing. I also talk about building a 6-figure author business. And over the coming months, it's going to be really talking about the transition into direct sales, particularly, but then also the wider side of things of actually running a 6-figure author business. All this is covered inside the newsletter. So if that interests you, head on over to matthewjholmes.com and you can sign up for free there. And that just leaves me to say thank you so much for taking the time to go through this presentation with me. I thoroughly hope you have enjoyed it and you've now got an actionable way forwards with your Facebook ads. So thank you so much again, and I wish you all the very, very best for your Facebook ads and your author business.